Assalamu alaikum, dear student. This is Dr. Mumtaz Begum, Professor and Head, Department of Medicine, Jalabad Ragib Rabia Medical College. Welcome you all to Jalabad Ragib Rabia Medical College. Hope all of you are safe with your family members. Today I will discuss on rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is the most common persistent inflammatory arthritis characterized by a clinical course of exacerbations and remissions. Female to male ratio is 3:1. From this slide, someone may ask you, what is the clinically, how can you differentiate an inflammatory arthritis from degenerative arthritis? In case of inflammatory arthritis, patient complains pain more on rest, and in case of degenerative arthritis, patient complains pain more on movement. What are the other diseases that may present with exacerbations and remissions? As for example, it may be peptic ulcer disease, it may be asthma, it may be multiple sclerosis. The typical clinical phenotype of rheumatoid arthritis is a symmetrical, deforming, small, and large joint polyarthritis, often associated with systemic disturbance and extraarticular disease. I again repeat you, the typical presentation is symmetrical and it is deforming and small and large joint polyarthritis. So what is polyarthritis? In this regard, anyone can ask you. Polyarthritis means inflammation involving 5 or more joint or joint groups. The most common age of onset is between 30 and 50 years. Pathophysiology. It is a complex disease with both genetic and environmental components. What is the proof of genetic involvement? The importance of genetic factors is demonstrated by higher concordance of rheumatoid arthritis in monozygotic 12 to 15% compared with dizygotic twins 3% and an increased frequency of disease in first degree relatives of patients. It is currently believed that rheumatoid arthritis occurs when an environmental stimulus, such as infection, triggers autoimmunity in a genetically susceptible host. So, who are genetically susceptible? Genetically susceptible patients are those who have the gene and HLA that is associated with rheumatoid arthritis. No single specific pathogen has been identified as a cause. Another environmental risk factor is cigarette smoking. Hormonal changes may also play a role because in rheumatoid arthritis we see remission may occur during pregnancy and sometimes rheumatoid arthritis first present in postpartum. Women before the menopause are affected 3 times more often than men. After the menopause, the frequency of onset is similar between the sexes. HLA association, which makes the person genetically susceptible, along with some other genes. Those who the HLAs are HLA-DR beta 1, HLA-B, and HLA-DP beta 1. Rheumatoid arthritis is typified by widespread persisting synovitis, that is inflammation of the synovial lining of joints, tendon sheaths, or bursa. And there is infiltration of the synovial membrane with lymphocytes, plasma cells, dendritic cells, and macrophages, as because it is a chronic inflammation. The normal synovium becomes greatly thickened to the extent that it is palpable as a boggy swelling around the joints and tendons. This inflamed synovium, which is known as pannus, very common question for your viva, what is pannus? That is the inflamed synovium. It spreads from the joint margin onto the cartilage surface, causing damage to the underlying cartilage. How? By blocking its normal route for nutrition and by the direct effects of cytokines on the chondrocytes. The cartilage becomes thin and the underlying bone becomes exposed. Bone erosions and periarticular osteoporosis occurs, and it is due to osteoclast activation. It is stimulated by the production of macrophage colony stimulating factor by synovial cells and rank ligand by activated T cells. There is angiogenesis, and later on fibrous or bony ankylosis may occur. Local cytokine production and the joint disuse combine to cause juxta-articular osteoporosis during active synovitis. Muscles adjacent to inflamed joints becomes atrophied, it is disease atrophy, and may be infiltrated with lymphocytes. And all of this together leads to progressive biomechanical dysfunction and may further amplify destruction. Now I would like to discuss about rheumatoid factors. Sometimes examiner may ask you what is seropositive disease arthritis and what is seronegative arthritis. Seropositive arthritis are those where rheumatoid factors are positive and in absence is called seronegative arthritis. So let us discuss about rheumatoid factor. These are circulating autoantibodies which have the Fc portion of immunoglobulin G as their antigen. They may be of any immunoglobulin class, immunoglobulin M, G, or A. But the most common test employed clinically can detect immunoglobulin M rheumatoid factor only. In your oral exam, sometimes examiner may ask you to draw the structure of the immunoglobulin. This is its FAB portion and it has got Fc portion, it has got light chain and heavy chain. Around 70% of rheumatoid arthritis patients have immunoglobulin M rheumatoid factor in the serum, and in that case, we can label the patient as seropositive rheumatoid arthritis. High rheumatoid factor titer are associated with more severe disease and extra articular disease. Immunoglobulin M rheumatoid factor is not diagnostic of rheumatoid arthritis, nor does its absence rule the disease out, but it is a useful predictor of prognosis. Rheumatoid factor has low specificity and sensitivity. The term seronegative rheumatoid arthritis is used for patients in whom the standard test for immunoglobulin M rheumatoid factor are persistently negative. So in that case, what we will do, we can depend on ACPA, and this ACPA indicates a worse prognosis. So what is ACPA? Anti-citrulline peptide antibodies. Recognize peptides in which the amino acid Arginine has been converted to citrulline by peptidyl arginine deaminase, an enzyme abundant in inflamed synovium and in a variety of mucosal structures. ACPA have sensitivity for rheumatoid arthritis at around 70%, but much higher specificity, more than 95%. And it is associated with more severe disease progression and can be detected in asymptomatic patients several years before the development of rheumatoid arthritis. So nowadays we are very much dependent on ACPA because of its specificity more than 95%, and we can diagnose the disease as early as possible by this. Clinical features. In your exam, sometimes examiner may ask you what is the mode of presentation of rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis has an acute onset with severe early morning stiffness, polyarthritis, and pitting edema. Majority of patient complaints of pain and stiffness of the small joints of the hands, that is in MCP, PIP, and in DIP joint, and in case of feet, metatarsophalangeal joint. Another presentation is with proximal muscle stiffness. Occasionally, the onset is palindromic, that is with relapsing and remitting episodes that last for only a few hours or days. Besides this presentation, patient may present with monoarthritis or oligoarthritis or associated with other extra-articular manifestation. In this regard, I would like to recapitulate you what is monoarthritis, that is inflammation of the single joint, and what is oligoarthritis, 2 to 4 joint or joint groups involvement. The wrist, elbows, shoulders, knees, and ankles are also affected, and hips are rarely affected. Now, I would like to discuss about short case, that is examination of the hand. Especially we will give this short case for rheumatoid hand. What are the findings you may get by examining a rheumatoid hand? The typical features are symmetrical. I again repeat, it is symmetrical swelling of the metacarpophalangeal joints and proximal interphalangeal joints. There may be erythema, ulnar deviation of the fingers, bursting of the small muscles of the hand causing dorsal guttering, synovial swelling at the wrist. Characteristic deformities in case of long-standing disease, that is swan neck deformity, buttonniere or buttonhole deformity, Z deformity of the thumb, dorsal subluxation of the ulna, figuring of fingers. And it is a very common question for your oral exam. What are the characteristic deformities present in hand may present in the hands of rheumatoid patient in case of long-standing disease? Some, these two photographs are randomly given in your OSPE exam as well as in your Viva board. You have to describe the photograph and answer some other question. Here you see there is synovial swelling at the wrist, the extensor tendon sheath, the metacarpophalangeal and proximal interphalangeal joints, ulnar deviation of the fingers, and wasting of the small muscles of the hands on the left photograph. And in the right photograph, you have seen that swan neck deformity of the fingers, that is flexion in the distal interphalangeal joint. When flexion deformity occurs in the PIP joint, then it will label as buttonniere or buttonhole deformity. During palpation, you may get tenderness and movement, both active and passive movement become restricted. In the lower limb, there is popliteal or Baker's cyst due to knee synovitis, cock-up toe deformities, secondary adventitious bursa, and callosities over the metatarsophalangeal heads, calcaneovalgus eversion, and loss of the longitudinal arch. Now I would like to discuss about the joint examination which is needed for your short case as well as a for long case. In case of examination of any joint, inspection, palpation, and there is movement. So in inspection, what are the points you look for? Shape of the joint, whether it is swollen or not. Overlying skin changes, that is color, scar, rashes, and whether there is any deformity present or not. During palpation, you have to see temperature, swelling, tenderness, and crepitus. To assess the movement, first you assess active movement, then passive movement. A special test you have to do during effusion of knee joint, that is patellar tap. This is the photograph which is available in your MacLears. The procedure of the patellar tap. With the knee extended, empty the suprapatellar pouch by sliding your left hand down the thigh until you reach the upper edge of the patella. Keep your left hand there and with the fingertips of your right hand, press down briskly and firmly over the patella. In a moderate size effusion, you will feel a tapping sensation as the patella strikes the femur. Now, criteria for diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. In this criteria, uh, you have to see number of joints affected, whether they are large or small, serology, that is rheumatoid factor and ACPA, whether they are negative or positive, and if positive, whether they are in low titer or high titer, and duration of symptoms 6 weeks, below 6 weeks or more than 6 weeks. Acute phase reactance, that is normal CRP and ESR, or it is abnormal. Why there is 6 weeks? It is the cutoff limit to differentiate the viral arthritis from the rheumatoid arthritis. If it is a case of viral arthritis, it should not persist below 6 weeks. Rheumatoid arthritis may persist more than 6 weeks. From this scoring system, if the patient with a score 6 or more are considered to have definite rheumatoid arthritis. This diagnostic criteria is known as European League Against Rheumatism or American College of Rheumatology 2010 criteria. And it's a very common question for your oral examination as well as for your written examination. There are so many extra-articular manifestations of rheumatoid arthritis, that is systemic, musculoskeletal, hematological, lymphatic, nodules, ocular, vasculitis, cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, and amyloidosis. Among them, some of them can create emergencies that they develop in a case of rheumatoid arthritis. What are those? It is scleritis, scleromalacia, pyoderma gangrenosum, visceral arteritis, myocarditis, coronary vasculitis, granulomatous aortitis, and cervical cord compression. A common question examiner may ask you in case of rheumatoid arthritis, why there is anemia and what are the types of anemia that may present in a case of rheumatoid arthritis. It may be microcytic anemia, or it may be normocytic normochromic anemia, or it may be macrocytic anemia. And the microcytic anemia occurs due to the use of NSAID, and NSAID can cause, due to prolonged use of NSAID, it may cause gastrointestinal blood loss. Normocytic normochromic anemia is due to the disease is a chronic and active process. And in case of macrocytic anemia, it may occur due to the use of methotrexate. These photographs you may found in your OSPI or VIVA table. Cutaneous change, that is subcutaneous rheumatoid nodule. What is it? Rheumatoid nodules consists of a central area of fibrinoid material surrounded by a palisade of proliferating mononuclear cells. It occurs at sites of pressure or friction, such as the extensor surfaces of the forearm, sacrum, Achilles tendons, and toes. Similar granulomatous lesions may occur in the pleura, lung, pericardium, and on sclera. Differential diagnosis for your long case. In case of rheumatoid arthritis, it may be post-viral arthritis. Earlier, I have told you that during taking of history, you have to know the duration of the disease, whether it is with process 6 weeks, symptom process 6 weeks or not. And you have to take history regarding the viral diseases. Commonly, you have to take history of hepatitis B virus infection. SLE. How can you differentiate rheumatoid arthritis from SLE? As you know that in case of SLE, there are other characteristics features such as malar rash, discoid rash, photosensitivity, oral ulceration. These are present. Along this, you have to remember that in case of SLE, the arthritis is non-deforming. In case of rheumatoid arthritis, it causes deforming arthritis. Seronegative spondyloarthropathies. Seronegative spondyloarthropathy. In case of seronegative spondyloarthropathies, the common manifestation is asymmetrical inflammatory oligoarthritis, and characteristic one feature that have to be present is evidence of enthesopathies. And there is sacroiliitis and inflammatory spondylitis. In case of acute nodal osteoarthritis, how can you differentiate? As we know that typical presentation of rheumatoid arthritis, in, in case of typical presentation of rheumatoid arthritis, involvement of MCP joint and PIP joint is common. And in case of nodal arthritis, PIP and DIP is involved. And there is also the burdens node and vouchers node present over the PIP and DIP nodes, PIP joint. Feltis syndrome, a short note for your written exam. Risk factors are age of onset 50 to 70 years, deforming but inactive disease hair, common clinical features are splenomegaly, lymphadenopathy, weight loss, and skin pigmentation. Investigation. To establish diagnosis, you have to keep in your mind the clinical criteria, serological tests, acute phase reactant proteins, and sometimes X-ray of the affected joint. To monitor disease activity and drug efficacy, you have to assess pain, early morning stiffness, joint tenderness, joint swelling, and DAS28 score, and also APR. To monitor disease damage, X-rays, and functional assessment. And to monitor drug safety, urine analysis, hematology, and some biochemical tests you may need. What is the principle of management of rheumatoid arthritis? Patient education and counseling, which is very essential because as you know that it is an autoimmune chronic inflammatory disease and there is no cure. So counseling with the patient regarding the disease and also about the used drug is very important to remain adherent to the treatment of the patient. Physical rest in very active disease, targeted anti-inflammatory therapy, passive exercise, periodic assessment during treatment. What is the goal of therapy? To control symptoms, to suppress the inflammation, and conserving and restoring function of affected joints. What are the treatment modalities? Commonly asked question in your oral exam as well as for written. Pharmacological and non-pharmacological therapy. Pharmacological therapies are NSAID and steroid and DMRDs. Regarding drug treatment, DMRD therapy should be introduced in all patients as this improves outcome. On first diagnosis, prednisolone 30 mg daily, gradually reducing in 5 mg increments every 2 weeks until therapy is withdrawn after about 12 weeks. At the same time, methotrexate 15 mg weekly along with folic acid 5 mg weekly and escalated up to a maximum of 25 mg weekly depending on the response. If the patient fails to respond adequately or dose-limiting toxicity occurs, then an additional DMRD should be commenced in combination with methotrexate. The most common combination is triple therapy, in which methotrexate, sulfasalazine, and hydroxychloroquine are combined. The examiner may ask you, what is the triple therapy of rheumatoid arthritis? It consists of methotrexate, sulfasalazine, and hydroxychloroquine. How to calculate the DAS28 score? You have to count swollen joint, have to count tender joint, you have to measure ESR and note the patient global health assessment regarding pain by visual analog scale and enter all of this data to an online calculator. Interpretation of the result. If the patient scored below 2.6, he or she may be in remission. And if the patient score 2.6 to 5.1, there is moderately active disease. And if the patient score more than 5.1, the disease is in highly active state. This DAS28 score is important for your oral and written examination. DAS28 is widely used to assess disease activity, response to treatment, and need for biological therapy. This algorithm shows the treatment protocol of rheumatoid arthritis. Earlier, I have told you that initially, if there is no contraindication, we have to start prednisolone and methotrexate, and dose of the prednisolone decrease. You can decrease over 12 weeks, and dose of the methotrexate increase over 12 weeks. After that time, you have to assess the DAS28. If the patient scores below 2.6, you will only continue the methotrexate. But if the patient scores more than 2.6, you can go for triple therapy. And after adequate dose and duration, you will again measure the DAS28 score. If the patient is scored below 2.6, you will continue the triple therapy. If it is between 2.6 to 5.1, you can change the DMRD or add low dose prednisolone. But if the patient score at that time, after initial treatment and triple drug therapy, if the patient score more than 5.1, DAS28 score 5.1, you have to go for biological treatment. So it's a very common question for your oral examination. When do you start biological therapy in a case of rheumatoid arthritis? Disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. These drugs are a group of small molecule inhibitors of the immune response. Most of these drugs have the potential to cause bone marrow suppression or liver dysfunction, and they require regular blood monitoring. And they take time to begin their action. So in this case, you have to counseling with the patient, and you have to control the pain of the patient. Commonly used DMRDs are methotrexate, sulfasalazine, mycophenolate mofetil, hydroxychloroquine, azathioprine, cyclophosphamide, cyclosporine, gold, D-penicillamine, and leflunomide. Principal side effect of methotrexate, you have to remember one or two, such as stomatitis. In case of methotrexate, stomatitis, hepatotoxicity, acute pneumonitis. In case of sulfasalazine, hepatitis, neutropenia, and rash. In case of hydroxychloroquine, corneal deposits, and rarely retinopathy. Biologic therapy. The term biologic refers to a group of medications that includes monoclonal antibodies, fusion proteins, and decoy receptors, which are used in the treatment of several inflammatory rheumatic diseases. They are targeted towards specific cytokines, receptors, and other cell surface molecules, regulating the immune response. The main adverse effect is an increased risk of infection, and their treatment costs are much higher than with DMRD. The most commonly used first-line biologics in rheumatoid arthritis are TNF inhibitors. When the patient has been stabilized on biologic treatment for 12 months or more, a reduction in dose should be considered. You have to keep in your mind four or five biological name of the drugs of that are used in biological therapy, that is anti-TNF alpha, etanercept, infliximab, adalimumab, golimumab, anti-B cell therapy, rituximab, inhibitors of T cell activator, abatacept, anti-interleukin C, tocilizumab, anti-interleukin 1, anakinra. JAK inhibitors, that is Janus kinase inhibitors. We are now practicing these two drugs, tofacitinib and baricitinib. These drugs block cytokine signaling. Patients who fail to respond adequately to other DMRDs and provide an alternative to biologic therapies. Non-pharmacological therapy, very important, is physical and occupational therapy, surgery, that is synovectomy, osteotomy, arthrodesis or arthroplasties. And last thing is rehabilitation of the patient. Prognosis. Average lifespan is reduced by 8 to 15 years by rheumatoid arthritis, and the 5-year survival for patients with severe disease is only 50%. Around 40% of patients will be registered disabled within 3 years. Around 80% will be moderately to severely disabled within 20 years, and 25% will have required a large joint replacement. This is all about your rheumatoid arthritis. Thank you all for your patience hearing.